deck, the deck that wants to go early, very aggressive early with its 2-card combos.
Right.
Lightsworn wants to drag it out till the late game where it's got Judgment Dragon.
Right. So now that you have a very good idea of what we're going to expect at this match, we can take you to the table where Suzie on the left will go up against Sam on the right. Both players are ready. The judges just indicated that they're good to go. Handshake as always. And now the judges get busy taking down the contents of their respective hands.
Yeah, I see a Moon Glacier over on the right-hand side. We've actually got a smaller screen this time, so it's not quite easy for me to read the cards as they're being drawn as it was for the WCQ in Amsterdam.
Right.
But this is actually infinitely more useful to you guys than remembering things I say.
Yes.
I see a Breakthrough, Compulsory Evacuation, Moon Glacier, and 2 cards I can't make out, which is Murmel Abyss Pike and Murmel Abystius. Okay.
So, and on the other side, we see Suzie starting 5.
Well, she's actually starting with like a 1-card hand there because 4 of those cards are outright unplayable. This is the kind of problem you can get with Lightsworns. But she's
Curie Bandit is a good opening for her to get things underway.
Yeah, she needs to get out of this early game as quickly as possible. And
right. And also, she's setting up the graveyard so she can eventually special summon the Lightsworn Dragon, the Judgment Dragon, my god. And once that happens, she's going to be in a very, very good position.
Yeah. As soon as she gets to that stage, the recurring threat that Mermels rely on, Tidal, does not stand up to Judgment Dragon at all.
Yes.
Well, unless it's making a big eye to steal the opponent's
yeah, but
Judgment Dragon.
Then again, what does? I mean, Judgment Dragon has been one of the most powerful cards in the game ever since its release.
And it still remains that to this day.
So Sam going a little bit, taking a careful approach, just setting 2 back row cards.
Okay, he's setting 2 back row cards before his battle phase. Oh no, he just ended his turn. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm normally very much against that. Okay, so we're seeing a Soul Charge for 1. It is so shiny. I believe it's a Lumina, but I can't quite tell. Yeah, it's, I believe, Lumina.
It does look like one. We will have it. Yes.
Lumina, for you guys who don't want to see all the shine. You would have seen this a lot of times. Breakthrough for skill, going to be countering that. And forcing Suzie, who still loses her cost that she paid, which was to discard.
Yes. So Illumina could bring back a Lightsworn monster from the graveyard. Basically like a zombie master for that particular archetype. Also one of the stronger cards, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so she's backed that up with a breakthrough, so it's pretty weak protection for the Lumina.
Yes.
Although I think now, I definitely know she has 2 Lightsworn monsters with different names in the graveyard after this Lumina goes down. So Mystical Space Fiend going to take out breakthrough skill.
You know, Sam can basically attack into what will be an open field in just a second.
Yeah, it's deciding which route he wants to go down, Abyss Pike or Abyss Tier. He can only use one of them. So he's going to go for Abyss Pike, discarding Moon Glacier.
It would have taken a while until that card went live.
The thing is, yeah, if you could activate it early, it'd be definitely beneficial for him to hold on to it as long as possible. But you don't want to go late game against Lightsworn. He wants to end this quickly, and if he's not got a fast way of getting it online, then the right thing to do is get rid of that Moon Glacier. This will actually let him do both his Murmel plays as well.
So Suzie's checking her graveyard, maybe for something like a Necro Gardener that ended up there somehow, which can stop the attack by banishing itself from the graveyard. So you just don't have to watch just the hands of Suzie and the field, you also have to watch the graveyard, which is the big advantage of the... Ooh, Suzie shaking her head. She definitely doesn't want to lose that card to the MST.
It's another breakthrough skill.
Another breakthrough. Well, it doesn't seem to have such an effect at this point, does it?
Well, it's very good against all the Murmels with the on-summon effects. So it gives her control. She's got no control on her opponent's turn at this point. There's a Necro Gardener face down, so she drew nothing. 2 Judgment Dragons in hand. Right. This is a weakness to playing the deck. Sometimes it can explode, but now she's got a lot of cards that she doesn't want to draw. Like Solar Recharge would be horrible to draw right now.
On the other hand, there are some cards that could get her right into the game.
Yeah, like we're looking at Charge of the Light Brigade. Very good. Another Curry Bandit, although that's passing where your opponent's got a lot of damage they can put at you very quickly.
Yes, and Sam, of course, knows that time is working against him in that situation, so he tries to finish the game as fast as possible. Going with Genex Undyne.
I'll get a controller to his hand.
Yes.
Which I believe... Nope, never mind. That was the bane of my existence in Amsterdam. I was wondering if we got around to fixing that one yet, but not yet apparently. Okay, so I would bring up some Mermail cards for you guys, but you've probably seen them a million times before. Necro Gardener, on the other hand, I'm going to pull up for you.
Yes.
It's maybe one that you haven't seen. If you've joined the game recently, you've probably not seen this. More likely to see things like Rainbow Karibo in today's game.
So Suzie draws and immediately goes for the graveyard. Is that
Perhaps a Soldier?
another Lumina?
Oh, it's a
no,
wolf.
it's a wolf.
It's another
Ooh.
dead card.
So actually, I don't know if that was a bluff where she's just like trying to make it seem like she drew into something that could turn the game around, or if she's really just checking once again if she has 4 different Lightsworn monsters.
It's very possible that Sam's going to be able to push through this Necro Gardener and win the game here. He has got Abystius, Genix Controller, Heavy Infantry. He's got Abystius Heavy Infantry combo. He's probably not going to be looking at the Soul Charge this turn.
Just the controller, and now he goes in. Suzie is still okay to take this damage, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so he doesn't shove really hard by using the Abystius. The infantry, I guess, is kind of.
No, she goes for Necro Gardener, yes.
Yeah, she keeping herself alive.
So the big difference is that Solar Recharge is suddenly live with the wolf in hand. So she does have more outs than before now, but she still needs to draw something.
Well, sure, her life points is still high enough to use Judgment Dragon. This is why the Zen Mines play is there as a bit of insurance against that. She's drawn another monster, it looks like.
It's a Lumina, isn't it?
That'd be really good for her if it is. It's Lumina. Okay.
Yes. So she can send wolf to the graveyard.
Yeah, and probably get back. I can't tell if she had a fleece earlier. Is that how you say it? Fleece? This one.
Yes.
Yeah, fleece. Sorry.
So there goes the wolf, just as we telegraphed. And now the big question is...
It's Raiden. This is going to give her extras.
This is really good for her.
Yeah. It's Erin in the third Judgment Dragon.
Yeah, she probably... Well, she wouldn't mind drawing it, to be honest. If once she can summon them to the field.
She'd have probably preferred to have hit another Lightsworn. But
yes.
if she synchro summons now, there's definitely Lumina, Raiden, and Wolf in the graveyard. And I can't tell if she's got Fleece there as well, which will open up the field for 2 Judgment Dragons. She could use Michael here to take out the Zen Mines and then make her Judgment Dragon plays and get some life points reimbursed if she wanted to go that. But it'll be really interesting to see how heavy she wants to commit to this. If she doesn't finish it off, Sam is sitting on a whole bunch of cards.
This is definitely the deciding part in this game.
Yep, and there's no Necro Gardener to fall back on this time. So we're going to see Michael, the Lightsworn guy. The Arch Lightsworn. I knew what it was. I was just...
Here you go.
Yeah, we'll pull this one up here.
Put it up for you guys. So in case you haven't seen this one, this is also out of the structure deck. Lightsworn structure deck that just reinvigorated this deck that hasn't been seeing play prior to that, except for the Lightsworn ruler build that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that Marcel Burry played all the way to the 2nd place finish in Amsterdam.
Yes.
WCQ.
So now the big question is, what kind of response does Sam have? He's so far not responding.
He didn't set the compulsory evacuation device that he has in hand, which would have been an answer to this.
Is there a reason to not set it in that situation?
I don't know. I guess he's playing around Judgment Dragon Insurance. He doesn't want to commit all of his cards to the table because Judgment Dragon can just pay 1,000 life points. Sweep them, and if you compulsory evacuation it, Suzie will just summon it again.
Yes.
And so he loses his out to that. But she did have to top deck the Lumina to get back into...
Well, or
this
the Solar Recharge.
Yeah, there was actually a whole lot of stuff.
And suddenly, Suzie's like, this is all I got, deal with it. And the big question is, can Sam deal with it? He doesn't look at lethal yet, so that is good for Suzie.
She is playing 3 Necro Gardeners, so we've got a very real possibility that there's... how many?
She's going to draw into
9, 10, 11. She's going to send 11 cards in the end phase to the graveyard, which can trigger the Fleeces, put all the Necro Gardeners in the world in the graveyard.
So Abysphere is always, as almost always at least, finding Linda.
Or maybe she goes for the extra deck summon and makes Divine Dragon Felgrand. It's a possibility.
Now, is it good enough without any other back rows or anything?
On its own, it would. It's hard to say because the opponent in this case is still holding enough cards to string more than 1 2-card combo. And oh yeah, so she's attacked into the Abyss Lind, and Abyss Lind has discarded the infantry to take out one of the Judgment Dragons, which takes an attack away from Suzie. And he's put an Abyss Grund in his hand to combo with the Abystius.
All right, so there goes the exit plan.
Very, very fluid play. She's now only going to send 7 cards away. Honest, Upstart, Lumina, Raiko.
There's a Necro Gardener. So the big question is this going to be enough? There's we see a Soul Charge in Sam's hand.
Yeah, if he goes for Soul Charge, at least Suzie won't be losing.
Yes, she will have more time, but
we know 2 of her Judgment Dragons in the graveyard, and the last one is on the field.
Yes. So after this, she's probably all out of options. There's not much else she can do, as far as I can tell, judging from the deck list we got here.
Yeah, have you got the context for Michael a second? Because he shuffles lots of cards back into the deck, but I think it's just Lightsworn.
Right, so apparently we got some technical difficulties.
Okay, well, I'll keep you guys up while we're just quickly checking Susie's possible outs. You'd think we'd remember all this stuff, but there is so many cards in this game. I want to be sure before I say something.
So Michael also says, once per turn you can pay 1,000 life points, then target 1 card on the field. You banish that target, and when it is destroyed, you can target any number of other Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard. So any number. So, yeah, that's kind of bad news for Suzie, it seems.
Yeah, and we're just seeing...
we're not even sure if we're getting to that, because Sam is unleashing the combos of the mermaid monsters.
I was just waiting for you to say unleashing the Kraken there. I was actually right on the edge of my seat, like that's what he's... Oh, that's all that build-up. Well, I've blown it now, so we can't even make that joke in the next game. Sorry, guys.
Well. So he just...
we're going to see a rank 4 play.
Yeah, this reminds me of a quote that went a little bit like, wait a minute, did you just special summon a bunch of monsters to the field all in one turn? And I think this is exactly what happened. There's a big eye taking control over the Judgment Dragon, and Suzie reluctantly gives away control.
Yeah, well, when you said Judgment Dragon is the best card, it is when it's beating you back in the face. So that's going to be, even with the Necro Gardener, enough to stop Suzie.
Yes.
Could not get out of that early game with her hand of just cards she couldn't play. She started with a 1-card hand.
Right.
That's a weakness that you take when you play Lightsworn.
Yeah,
you play it
and
for the
some people are complaining that if they go first, they only got 5 cards. I mean, look at that. You start the game with just 1 card in hand.
One playable card, yeah.
That's much worse. But Suzie doesn't seem to mind it too much. She immediately went for a side deck. I guess this is something that you expect to happen if you're going into tournament with Lightsworn, that from time to time you will just sit there with a hand where you're just waiting for that 1 card to appear, and it just doesn't.
Well, that's a risky take. It's a high-risk, high-reward deck. It wants to get to the late game, and if you never get there, you lose. That's just kind of how it is.
Right.
Suzie does have 3 copies of Debunk in her side deck, which will be good against this Mermail deck. Her other options are Free Roll Decrees, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, Mystical Space Typhoon, Breaker, and Thunder King Ryu.
That doesn't seem like so good against that particular deck.
The 3 debunks are probably the only thing that comes in against Mermail.
Yeah. So Sam, on the other hand, he's got Crows.
Actually quite of useful against Lightsworn.
Yeah,
if you want to.
Definitely not too bad. If you don't push through for the final attack and all that's standing in your way is a Necro Gardener, this is your way out.
Well, it's taking names away. I think the Necro Gardener can be chained to the...
Yeah, but if you do it earlier.
Oh, yeah, if you do it in your opponent's turn.
Yeah, something like that. But then again, Light Imprisoning Mirror.
Yeah, that's Light Imprisoning.
Very, very big card. That's going to hurt the Lightsworn deck.
Possibly another misstep for playing Lightsworn in this tournament is because the Statella presence.
Yes. Lots of people will be having Lightsworn Light Imprisoning Mirrors in their side deck just for that particular deck.
So you're getting caught off... you're just getting caught in the middle of the crossfire between the side decking wars that's going on between Statella and Shadow. And when you play a card, when a card like Light Imprisoning Mirror is incredibly damaging to you, and it's going to be played by everyone, it makes your brings your deck into question.
Yes. Well, one thing that we can give credit to the Mermail archetype is that you can run both a Light Imprisoning Mirror and the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror in the side deck, which is a big deal. I mean, next to no other of the popular decks can do that.
Yeah, because the Shadow's deck's not going to turn around and play
Shadow
Imprisoning Mirror on
Yeah.
itself. Because, the mirror match.
I mean, who wants to lock himself out of the match? I mean, that's like you're playing a Dimensional Fissure from your side deck and your opponent suddenly flips Stygian Dirge.
It's like, oh, all my cards are working against me. This
Right.
isn't how it's supposed to happen.
No, this is not. So, right. It seems like Sam does have the better side deck for this particular matchup. And he's also running Effect Veilers. I'm not sure about that, but
Effect Veiler's good against Lumina, but that tells me
it's not horrible against Judgment Dragon when he's like...
Is it free Effect Veilers? Yeah.
Yes.
Is he playing? He's playing free Breakthrough Skill as well, so he's definitely kitted against these effect monster heavy decks, Statella Knights and the like, because it just does 6 effect negations that don't actually deal with the monster that's been summoned. So you're giving up your card to make sure your opponent can't make their play. So he's banking on having an established game plan by the time that these cards come into play. Otherwise, there's just 6 cards that only slow your opponent down.
Yes.
I mean, they can still pick up a rock and throw it at your life points.
It's a very interesting assumption because, I mean, most decks are aiming at putting up a strong presence and then making sure that the opponent doesn't do the same. We mentioned before Vanity's Emptiness, such a good card in this format. He himself is playing it, so obviously the Mermail deck is capable of doing that particular move. Special summoning, couple of monsters, flipping Vanity's Emptiness, and then just let's see how you get out of that. But we're already in game 2.
We're going to wait for the hands to load in.
Yes.
First one to draw. Sorry, I'd say first one to draw, but that could mean something else. I mean, first the information I'm getting in is actually for Suzie. Got Lila, Gareth, Raiden, Debunk, Blackluster Soldier. It's a monster-heavy hand, no spells to quickly get through there. She chooses to go first, and it's going to go for Raiden and try and get out of this early game as quickly as possible.
I think she sent a Breakthrough Skill to the graveyard. And there's a Necro Gardener, so that is definitely good news for her.
She has the attack protection, and she also set the Debunk, which is very good turn 1, but we've only got an Atlantean Dragoons for Sam. Sam's hand, Abyss Pike. That's very, very good that he drew the Abyss Pike to go with the Dragoons. An advantage to going second is, especially when you're playing these 2-card combo decks.
Yes.
And he probably reads some kind of disruption, so he decides to not play either his monsters set Mystical Space Typhoon, Abyss Sphere, Light Imprisoning Mirror. He'll try and deploy his Abyss Pike, I imagine, after the debunk has been taken care of. But it could go a bit hairy for him here, because... oh no, he's got Light Imprisoning Mirror.
Oh, all right. So, Susie's looking like, where's the MST? But at this point in time, it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, with Raiden being a level 4 tuner, she's got access to level 8s here. So, she could consider... well, either a rank 4 or a level 8 synchro. She's got quite a lot of options in that.
When I see fields like that, I'm always feeling like X-Saber should be good, just because of Yunlai clearing out the back row, but...
You know what, in this format with people playing heavy back row, X-Sabers might have been a good call.
Yeah.
Hunlai sweeping it out, being an earth monster, not affected by any of these mirrors that people are side decking. The question is would it have the power to keep the pace with burning
some of the super aggressive decks, yes. So Suzie just sends her monsters in, since she can't really make the effects work, which works just as well for the most part, but there's an Abyss Sphere to stop her from attacking.
Yeah, which will be...
triggering replay.
Yeah, forcing her to deal with the very obnoxious Abyss Lind. Very obnoxious. She's actually smiling at you as well, and she's sort of like on the side, like, chase me, please. Because she's getting her friend.
She's one of these princesses. I'm in the castle, save me. and then sometimes you're really relying on her, and she's like, your princess is in another castle. And then you're just like, okay, what am I going to do now?
It's like everyone's childhood is in disarray.
Yeah.
Okay, she elects to not attack and makes Abyss Dweller. Okay, this is
definitely a good card against Mermail.
Especially in this situation here, she can prevent that Abyss Lind from finding her friend.
So The Dweller detaches.
Yep, and there'll be no search.
That seems like a good play from Suzie, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, there's an Abyss-Tius, an Abyss Pike, and a Dragoons, so there's a huge combo potential from Sam. Although, if he goes for any of these plays, you've got the Abyss Dweller, which now shuts out part of that.
So the Abyssphere, which is very, very often a card that nets you some advantage, just turned into a -1 against the Dweller, basically.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be losing card economy against an Abyss Dweller in that circumstance. Okay, so Sam elects to go for an Abyss-Tius. There is a debunk face down. Suzie allows it. And she allows the Dragoons. She has one material on the Abyss Dweller. And she doesn't use a debunk. That's a very interesting choice. I would imagine one of those two plays would have been the response to Sam here to stop him going through his deck, getting any card that he wants. Or I think Suzie perhaps reading that maybe he's baiting her.
Yeah, and there's something worse coming after that.
There's something fishy. Sorry, it's Mermel. I'll avoid that kind of pun. There's something that was entirely accidental, guys. I apologize.
No one's going to believe you now.
Something suspicious.
No one's going to believe you now.
No, it's like it's already said it, and I realised when I did it. Honestly, I didn't mean it. Okay, so we're going to get a couple of searches here, and it looks like Heavy Infantry and Abyss Grund.
Right. So is Suzie contemplating using the Dweller in this turn at all?
Yeah, he just goes into battle phase and attacks, and now he can do all of his cards without. Well, Necro Gardener.
There's a Necro Gardener, yes.
I forgot that was there, and it looks. Well, maybe that's what Sam was even trying to push that Necro Gardener out. He hasn't looked in a graveyard in a while.
Yeah, but still, would you? I mean, you can save the debunk for something else, I guess, but is that the right point in time to not?
It's usually Abyss-Tius, because then they give, you just stop these searches from happening.
Yes.
And those searches are very, very damaging because they also take cards out of the deck, allowing Sam to draw into his more powerful cards.
And the other thing is, like, debunk was introduced from the side deck, so you're citing that in for that particular scenario.
Yeah, and she's summoned Lila, the Lightsworn Sorceress, who's still being shut down by Light Imprisoning Mirror. So both monster trade blows, both bite the dust. And Abyss Dweller is going to attack for 1700 directly.
Yes. So that is actually looking okay for Suzie, but Sam just refilled his hand with those searches from the Abyss toys.
Yeah, he still has to play around this Abyss Dweller and a debunk that he doesn't know about, but I guess he's now going to feel safe thinking she doesn't have a debunk, or she would have used it on the Abyss-Tius. So maybe Suzie White on the next level here is actually outplaying Sam, but keeping the pressure of these cards for when she really needs it, because she did have the Necro Gardener, which we forgot about. As long as she can keep her opponent trying to play around.
So once again, a discard effect. This seems like a good time to activate one of her counters.
I feel like she has to, otherwise she loses the Abyss Dweller and lets Sam do everything that he wants to do. Unless, I guess the question is, does she debunk or does she Abyss Dweller?
Well, there we go. Abyss Dweller now without a material. Not a big deal.
It's still bigger than the Abyss Pike that's been summoned.
But now seems like the right time for a very big Soul Charge play. Not so much. Sam was just looking at his graveyard. He seemed to be like contemplating that move. And yeah, he shuffles it on the top of his hand.
Yeah, I imagine you're right with this
no,
large
he
Soul
just
Charge.
passes after that.
Okay.
It's interesting.
He wants to wait until the Abyss Dweller's gone before he starts playing his combo. Suzie drawing Raikou Lightsworn Hunter, Necro Gardener in hand, Blackluster Soldier, and Fleece. That's a new card from Duelist Alliance.
Well, the Blackluster Soldier doesn't mind the Light Imprisoning Mirror that much.
He's still 3,000.
Yes.
And here's the Mystical Space Between taking out the debunk.
Yeah, that is something. I had a conversation in between matches prior to this round with Raphael Niven, and former Dutch national champion, I think. And he was talking to me that he was watching his friend play, and he said he made a misplay, and his reasoning went something like he had Avenge his emptiness, and he didn't flip it on the first possible moment.
Oh, like during the draw phase.
No. When he was attacking and the opponent had a face-down monster, so he could have special summoned some Shadow monsters and everything. And I was like, so how do you know that's a misplay? And he's like, well, if the opponent draws a Mystical Space Typhoon next turn, you're basically dead. So you have to use it as soon as you can and gain an advantage with the card. This is pretty much the same thing we're seeing here. If she would have used the debunk at the first possible moment, it would have netted her some advantage.
She would have been able to take some options away from Sam.
And now by trying to wait for the right moment, it's kind of backfiring on her.
And she's going to lose her face down. It's a Necro Gardener anyway, so I don't think she's going to be too upset about this Atlantean Marksman taking out her Necro Gardener.
Then again, the Mermaid deck doesn't really mind performing that particular play because it comes like with no cost at all.
Well, yeah, you're using the cost to your advantage of a card because you're using there's something that's supposed to be inherently bad to pay and making it a bonus effect.
Yes.
Essentially.
So once again, Susie's got some kind of a way out in case Sam goes for a very big attack or something with the Necro Gardener in the graveyard. But it seems to me like she's really a little bit behind in this match, especially with the Light Imprisoning Mirror still active on the field.
Yeah, she is not drawn away to deal with that. Holding Blackluster Soldier, Felice, and Raiko.
She also doesn't play any MSTs in the main deck.
No Mystical Space Typhoons.
So the question is, did she side them in? Did she saw it coming that there would be the mirrors or not?
Well, her other option, other than Abyss Dweller, could have been Diamond Direwolf, but I imagine she'd have lost a lot faster had she made that play and took the Light Imprisoning Mirror out. But again, we're looking at decision trees that could have made the game go one way or the other. It's always, you get these decisions where it's like, which rank 4 do I make right now?
Yes.
And it can change the entire outcome of the game. Yes, I answer Light Imprisoning Mirror, then I lose to your push.
Yes. So now Sam is sitting in the driver's seat.
And he's made his own Abyss Dweller.
Yes.
We've mentioned Abyss Dweller a few times for you guys that may have missed this one and its release in Abyss Rising. Very, very powerful rank 4 adding to the toolbox options.
Yeah, it looks a little like it's supposed to go into a water deck. It works surprisingly well against the water deck.
Yes. Well, it's even bigger if you summon it with a water material. It gives all of your water monsters plus 500 attack.
Right, so Susie is checking her graveyard, looking for options. Maybe she did draw into no, she did not draw into a Judgment Dragon.
It's a Lumina.
But she still got the Blackluster Soldier that she could summon to the field, and she does just that, which costs her the Necro Gardener. Yeah. So
see Sam's interesting choices. He's got the Light Imprisoning Mirror locking everything down, and he's also got breakthrough skills. He knows exactly he wants to stop as many of these effects as possible. Even if there's some, when they're drawn together, there's a bit of redundancy until one of these cards is answered. But he's okay with that.
Yes. Is that a breakthrough skill?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. He can't actually attack twice because it's an effect that it's an effect that activates, right? The double attack, because Light Imprisoning Mirror.
Yes, it does.
Oh wait, if it doesn't activate, in which case, if it's just a continuous effect, yeah, of course he'd get it 2 attacks because Light Imprisoning Mirror only stops monsters' effects that would activate. I may have overlooked that, and I apologise for you guys at home if you spotted it and are screaming, "What's going on?"
Well, I'm 100% sure that you guys at home saw that immediately. But nope.
It doesn't use a chain.
Yes, there is no semicolon.
Yeah, so she can attack and then attack again because it's not an effect that activates.
Yeah. So once again, reading the card really helps, and being familiar with problem-solving card text. So
Light Imprisoning and Shadow Imprisoning Mirror are 2 cards that catch you off because they don't do anything to continuous effects.
yes. So yeah, no semicolon means no chain, and that in turn means the Light Imprisoning Mirror is not working well against it.
There's one for you guys to keep in the memory.
Well, we're definitely doing that to see who's paying close attention and giving the chat something to talk about.
Yep, definitely. Oh, we're going to see Bismer Megalo. He's a very friendly Mermail monster. He's also it's a Bisgrund that's being discarded.
Right.
Which this is just going to end very, very badly for Suzie.
She's still sitting on 8,000 life points, so you wouldn't expect this game to be over anytime soon. At least, like, from looking at it from a somewhat remote perspective. But you're saying it with absolute confidence that this game is going to be over just a second.
Well, no, I'm very concerned because at this point she can now make number 11 Big Eye, take the Blackluster Soldier, and just swing, and go over it. Or she's got other options she could go for. Actually, no, he can't OTK this turn because he's got no way of getting the Abysmal Megalo's double attack off. But if that Blackluster Soldier sits around...
There goes Raiko.
Yep. If Blackluster Soldier sits around on Sam's side of the field and the Big Eye being ready there to take anything else out of the way, it's a very easy position to lose from.
Right.
Gen X controller. Oh, perhaps he'll go for Sacred Leo and just attack over it.
The big question is, like, is that the better choice? I keep asking that.
That's very interesting. He chose to synchro with the monster in attack position.
So, is there a situation where you need to save your Big Eye for something that could come later on?
He's got the Light Imprisoning Mirror up. For Suzie to get out of that, she'd have to have Mystical Space Typhoon, Judgment Dragon. But then, if she has that, he loses anyway, because he's only got 1,700 life points left. Dark Hole.
There's a Dark Hole. First time we saw this card today. Still powerful, as we can see here.
And with the hindsight, you could have said maybe Draco Sack would have been the better option, because Dark Hole wouldn't have cleaned him out there. But Suzie unable to finish the game, but puts Sam in the danger zone, which is anything less than 800 life points.
So he now checks his graveyard. He now has a couple of cards in his deck that won't work well for him. I mean, Soul Charge, for example, is not what you want to see when you're on less than 1,000 life points. But he's got another Episphere to make sure he doesn't fall under that minimum threshold.
Yeah, that you've always got to be wary of when you get into a zone where Cowboy can take you out. But then there's also Heartland Drago. I think it's number 82, I believe, which can also attack directly for 2,000 and take you out. But not so many people use that. Oh, we're going to see Abyss Lead coming out. It's another Mermail monster that... It's weird when people... he did just draw that Soul Charge you were talking about. But yeah, Abyss Lead is one that it's... it turns up every now and again, but not very many people... After a while, people seem to drift away from it because they felt the Megalo was enough.
But he now has a couple of options.
In case you're wondering, Susie's hand, it's a monster she can't summon. And on her field, it's just a Lumina. Sam, anything he can work with is on the field, although he can Soul Charge for 1. Okay, it looks like it's going for the Tidal.
Well, that works.
This is the Mermail late game plan when it runs out of cards, is to just hope Tidal gets you, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got enough water monsters in his graveyard to keep bringing it back for, well, for as many turns as this game might last, which is basically all he needs.
Yeah, we're getting into the final stages of the duel here.
So Suzie, once again, needs a very, very big draw.
Charge of the Light Brigade. Discarding Fleece, drawing 2, getting Judgment Dragon and Mystical Space Typhoon would be...
That's how it's done.
That would be how awesome
there
that
you go.
would be.
There is... I think it was a spell card, but I couldn't quite make it out. And we don't know it yet.
I can't see. It's Mystical Space Typhoon. So she got half of the puzzle.
Ooh,
oh,
that's a MST from Sam and 3,600 life points remaining for Suzie. That might be the end of the game. He's still got the Soul Charge, so bring something back from the graveyard.
Oh, he made a ninja.
Well,
I guess,
if he brings something back from the graveyard, he would not get to attack. So he doesn't have the out.
that's Master of Blades. Sorry, not a ninja. It allows him to do lots of nasty things if you try and target it. I question whether Suzie trying to set that bluff, knowing that she loses if Sam attacks, she should have just maybe took out the Light Imprisoning Mirror. Because now she's just given up her only out to the Light Imprisoning Mirror.
Right. Right. So Suzie is at the point where you set monsters just to protect yourself for another turn. This really doesn't look good. She's got a back row, and her body language seems to give it away that she's not feeling confident.
Well, I think another side effect of Lightsworn is because you send so much of your deck to your graveyard, if your opponent looks through it, they get a rough idea of your entire build by the end of the duel, and can see Sam see very clearly that Suzie doesn't have any real trap cards.
Right.
So even trying to set the bluff, Mystical Space Typhoon, is probably not going to work when your opponent's seen most of your deck, and in this case, the Light Imprisoning Mirror locking out her Lumina, which she could have then discarded Fleece and went from there. So Breakthrough with Skill is the face down card, in case you're wondering.
Right. So Sam is not done anytime soon. Abyss Sphere in the end phase once again allows him to combo off a little bit.
There's, lots of nonsense going on here.
And he draws for his turn. I think as soon as he says, I'm going to declare attacks, Suzie's just going to extend that. Yes, there we go. Well, Sam sitting there quite comfortably in his chair, feels like he definitely commanded the forces from the depth of the ocean in the perfect way possible.
Yeah, he went so low and was just still so comfortable taking that game away at the end.
It seemed like he knew exactly what was going on in that match, like when he had to make what move, and just fight back in the right time and catching Suzie off guard when she was like out of options to defend herself.
Once she'd burned through all of her available resources, Sam was able to just pick up the game.
Right. So Mermaid does not seem like the greatest choice for this event. I mean, there's a very good chance that you take game one because your opponent really doesn't see that one coming. But with, like we pointed out, Light Imprisoning Mirror very prominent in almost every other side deck in this tournament.
Bit catchy for Lightsworn. If you're playing a deck that falls into the category of getting caught out by all of the same power traps that your opponent's playing to specifically stop the top deck, one of the top decks in the format, your deck choice is going to be affected just by pure coincidence.
Yes,
in that case.
yes. Now that is some interesting thing. I mean, you go into the tournament, you definitely have a game plan. You're saying, I'm going to play a rogue deck because nobody expects it, and then especially when you lose a round early on, you end up in a situation where you might hit another rogue deck, and then you're really like, oh my god, I really didn't prepare for this particular matchup. I mean, once again, Lightsworn versus Mermaid.
That's why you see that
we didn't see that coming. Yeah. Same in the earlier matches. I think we should. I don't know. Like either we stick with the decks that everybody expects for this tournament, which is Shaddoll, obviously, Burning Abyss, and the Stellar Knights, or you just try to pick the rogue deck, and then sometimes you end up in a very awkward situation like this one.
Yeah, with the Lightsworn, I mean, when Suzie's deck goes off, it looks like a complete monster, but again, at the same time, she is unfortunately going to be caught out by the cards that people are already playing for some other deck.
So it's also like the time when Lightsworn was really shining, I don't think there were that many breakthrough skill running around.
Well, breakthrough skill in the original was Cosmo Blazer, was the first print of breaking through skill, so I'm thinking back to European Championships 2008 when Lightsworn was the deck to play.
Long time ago.
When you could play Free Charge of Light Brigade, Dark Strike Fighter, and all
and it's just like, end of turn one, my grave